In today's video, we're going to be going over how you can make $1,000 online in the next 30 days using AI. So before we get into the video, my name's Zub. I've scaled my agency up to multiple six figures now, and we also run something called Client Capital, where I help people like you start successful agencies too. So let's get into it. How can we actually make $1,000 in 30 days? Well, the most simple path is to use AI and also a lead generation agency. Okay. And I will explain what that means a little bit later on. But before I do, here's a little example. Okay. In June 2022, I started from zero. I was a factory worker. I was making about £10 an hour, $14. I was in my overdraft and I had no skills. However, by November, so 3, 4 months, I believe, I was then on $10,000 a month, which is crazy. Okay. And I'm nothing special. I'm no one special. I am just a regular person like you. So if I can do it, so can you. And I've even had students inside Client Capital like Luke do it in 90 days. And I think he actually did it a lot quicker than myself. So not everyone is going to hit that 10K in 90 days, but realistically, you can easily achieve $3,000 to $5,000 a month if you follow these steps. Okay. So this is not a get rich quick scheme. I am not here to promise you millions of pounds within the next few months. And if anyone does that, stay away from that. This is not drop shipping. And the beautiful thing about that is you don't need thousands up front to start this. And also, we're not learning 20 different skills here at once. We're going to learn one big skill. And there's no fake screenshots. If you want money while you sleep by Friday, this isn't for you, okay? You actually have to put in a work here. You have to work with these businesses, and it's not something that's passive. Cool. So why does this work in 2025? Well, 65% of businesses say leads is their biggest issue. There are more than 30 million businesses in the US alone. So if you do the math, that is about 20 million businesses in the US alone that are struggling with generating customers. So that's exactly where we come in as an AI lead generation agency. Also, the bigger the problem that they have and the bigger the problem that you can solve, the faster it is to make money. Now, even with small problems, you can still make $1,000 a month. And I'm going to show you that in this video. So here we have a problem for your customer. Your offer comes in. So you come in as the solution and you book customers, calls, quotes, whatever to make them more revenue. So what is a lead generation agency? Well, essentially, you just book customers for businesses using ads. You're the bridge. You have customers, you have the businesses, aka your clients, and all you do is you match them together. It's as easy as that. And the lever we're going to be using to do this is Facebook ads. And the reason why we're going to be using Facebook ads is because it's the easiest model to learn, in my opinion. I truly believe it's the easiest to learn. It's also a great skill you can learn. Okay. If you can learn Facebook ads, we always say this inside Client Capital, you can never go broke. I promise you that. I always say that if I went back down to zero today with the skill of Facebook ads, I could always create something new tomorrow and start making money the next day. It's so true. Now, also, as well as this, it's been used by businesses for many years. And the beautiful thing about Facebook ads, it's been used by businesses across multiple different industries, whether it's local businesses, online businesses, whatever. All these businesses use Facebook ads and it's very automation friendly. It connects with many different softwares and it makes your life extremely easy. Now, within this one skill of Facebook ads, there are a few small skills that we have to apply. The main ones being actually making creatives, making the ad copy, and also understanding the data. Now, there are 6 steps that we can follow to make $1,000 in 30 days. Step 1, pick a niche. Okay, we want to choose one specific person that we're going to help. No multi-targeting. When I first started out my agency journey, the biggest mistake I made was trying to target multiple different niches at once. The reason why that doesn't work very well is because the longer you stay in one niche and the longer you speak to more people within that one industry, you're going to gain even more insights into their struggles, what is it specifically they're looking for, because each niche and each industry is very different and they have different problems. So the longer you stay with one niche, the more you get to understand their specific problems. And then when you're on sales calls, you're going to come across a lot more reputable because they will think, okay, this person understands my industry very well. And when you show them case studies, you're going to show them multiple different case studies in that one industry that you're targeting. The next point is we need to do some research. So we need to understand what are their pain points? What are they currently doing to try and get customers? What is the lingo that they use? Like, are there any specific words that they use you see that are very common within the industry? And also who's the decision maker? After this, we're then going to create an offer. Okay. And this is something that I really struggled with at the beginning. I would always say to myself, I would always say to sales on sales calls, oh, I run Facebook ads and I help businesses like you run Facebook ads. And I wouldn't actually talk about the offer. The offer is different to the service. The service is Facebook ads. The offer is what can we help them get? And I'm going to break that down in a lot more detail. When I first started out, I remember my first ever sales call to this day. So embarrassing. It was about 45 minutes long. It was with a e-commerce brand doing about $60,000 a month. And I remember just talking about like Facebook ads and whatnot. And it got to the end of the call and he said, oh, this is perfect, but I'm going to go think about it. And when he said, I'm going to go think about it, I got so happy. I said, that's not a problem, Mr. Klein. You can go think about it. I remember running into my living room, speaking to my mum and dad and being like, guys, I've just closed my first client for $2,000 a month. And little did I know I was very wrong. Okay. And it's just purely because I wasn't very good at the time. And this is why you need to do a lot of outreach and do volume with outreach. Okay. Because you can't rely on one person. I thought that $2,000 was coming in, and little did I know it wasn't. And I actually stopped outreaching because I thought, oh, well, I've got my client now. He's just going to pay me next week. And it's a load of waffle. So you need to do volume, cold calling, cold emails, DMs, looms. Just try and speak to as many businesses as possible. The more businesses you speak to, the more success you are going to have. When me and Dan first started our lead generation agency, we were doing 10,000 cold calls in the first month alone. 10,000 cold calls in 1 month. That's crazy. Crazy, crazy numbers. But it's so true. I say this all the time. You could be the world's worst agency owner, but if you do enough volume, you're going to make money and you're going to sign clients. So step 5 is then we need to learn the service. Obviously, if we're going to help these businesses, we need to understand what are we going to help these businesses with. So it's understanding how does Facebook ads work? So how can we set up campaigns? How can we actually make creative? So the photos and the videos that we're going to use, but also reading data. Facebook's a lot about reading data. And I think when people first start out, they don't realize this. And then finally, we're going to sell and deliver. You need to be confident. You need to, basically show the client why it's a no-brainer to work with you. Have the onboarding call, and then you just replicate for every single client. So when it comes to niche and like market research within the niche, here are some examples of niches. I actually have a whole video breaking down all the different niches for you, which I will link here. We then need to understand, okay, well, what are their pain points? What have they tried before? Have they tried ads before? Leaflets, word of mouth, etc. Who's the decision maker? And what makes them buy? Is it because they don't see consistency? 1 week they do really well, the next week they do really shit. Scaling, do they want to get to the next level? And are you that person to help them get to that next level? Or is it seasonality? Jobs like landscapers normally do really well in the summer, but in the winter they struggle, so they look to use external agencies like yourself. And then we're going to use AI to assist us, okay? You speak with AI, try and get the top 5 pain points plus the languages that they use of just by asking ChatGPT. It's as simple as that. So next, we're then going to make an offer, but we need to make it desirable. I've actually created an offer template for you guys here. We help the niche book X to Y qualified quotes in Z days without one hated thing in the industry using a named system. And if we don't hit target, we don't get paid. Now, that is an example of one. As you can see, I put one down here. We help landscapers book 20 to 30 qualified quotes in 30 days without competing for leads using our gigascaling system. Okay, I'm going to break this down. 20 to 30 qualified quotes in 30 days is normally very good. So that is something that most landscapers would think, okay, that's quite a good offer. Without competing for leads, a lot of local businesses use third-party platforms like Checkertrade or Angie's List in America, and they basically buy leads, but so do all the other landscapers in the area. So when they call this lead that they bought for like 30, 40 pounds or dollars, they're actually competing with this with other businesses in the area. So what we're talking about here is we are basically getting them quotes without competing against other businesses for those leads. These leads are specifically signed up to their business. Cool. We then have step 4. Now, this is outreach. What I wanted to specifically go over was cold email. The reason why I don't want to go over cold calling is because cold calling is pretty self-explanatory. You pick up the phone and you start dialing. With cold emailing, there's a few more steps to it. So I wanted to basically break that down to you guys because there isn't too much information on YouTube about cold emailing. We want to set up an email like this, like quick question. Hi, John. Are you taking new clients this quarter? Are you taking new quotes this quarter? We help landscapers book 20 qualified calls or quotes in 30 days without ads or without, well, in this case, it wouldn't be without ads, right? It would be, for example, without competing against your competitors via our gigascaling system. Now, with this system, just quickly going back here, the reason why we use something like the gigascaling system is because it means nothing, but it intrigues them. Rather than saying we're using Facebook ads, they know what Facebook ads is. If you talk about a completely unknown system to them, it's going to make them want to learn more about your agency and what you can do for their business. Then we're going to have some follow-ups. Okay. But the key here is to have short emails, less than 80 words. Get straight to the point. Okay. Genuinely get straight to the point. Don't try and waffle it. Just speak to them directly. So how do we actually set up cold email? Well, there's a bit of infrastructure that we need to set up. The first thing, we need to buy 2 to 3 domains. I recommend buying 3 domains. It's so cheap. Go to porkbun.com or Squarespace, whatever. Each domain, will cost you about $10. So if you bought 3 domains, that's $30. Then per domain, we're going to have 5 inboxes. So let's say we had gigascaling.com, gigascaling.co.uk, gigascaling.net. It doesn't really matter. Then for each domain, we're going to buy 5 email addresses. So giga@gigascaling.com, zub@gigascaling.com, john@gigascaling.com. You get the point. Then what we're going to do is we're going to warm up these email addresses. Now, the whole point of the warm up is if we don't warm up the email, they are going to end in spam. Your outreach is going to end up in spam. So the warm up basically helps prevent that from happening. Now we can use tools like Instantly and Smartlead to warm up these emails, and you only have to wait 2 weeks. Wait 2 weeks, let them warm up, and then after that you can send 30 to 50 emails every single day per per email address. Now when it comes to the tools that you need, first of all you need to scrape data. So you need to do list building. We can use tools like Apollo, Crunchbase, whatever. And this will basically scrape a load of leads so that then you have their name, their number, their email address, etc. We then can use a verification tool to verify that the email addresses actually exists. Okay. And then all we do is send the emails, and then we have something where we can where we have reply management to it. Again, we can do this on platforms like Smartleads and Instantly, which I recommend everyone to have a look at. And then we have CRM. Now, I wanted to break down the maths to show you how easy it is to actually make $1,000. If we had 5 inboxes and each inbox was sending 50 emails a day, and there's 20 and across 20 weekdays in a month, right? That's 5,000 emails you have sent out. Even if you only get 1 to 2% positive reply rate, so only 1 in 100 businesses actually are bothered about your service and your offer. That's 50 to 100 replies. Let's say only 30 to 50% book in, that's 15 to 50 calls. And even if you close between 10 to 30%, that's between 2 and 15 clients. So just by doing this, just by setting up your emails, you can have 2 to 15 clients by the end of a month. That is incredible, right? And that's a lot more than $1,000, I promise you. So then the last main step is sales calls and delivery, okay? So how the sales call needs to be structured is something like this. Now, you want to do a 1 call close. So on 1 sales call, you close them. So at the beginning, you set authority, and then you go into discovery. This is 10 to 15 minutes where you're trying to find out more information about their business and the problems that they currently have and what are their goals, okay? And what's stopping them from achieving their goals. Then what we're going to do is we're going to bridge the gap by talking about the return on investment by using your service, but also explaining your service and your system and your offer and exactly how specifically can you help this business and the problems that they are facing. Then at the end, we're going to go through the offer in terms of how much it is, what exactly are you going to be doing, the terms of your service, and then you're going to close them and then get them booked in for an onboarding call. Now, if you think about a landscaper, for example, on average, a landscaping customer is worth about $5,000, £5,000 to that landscaper. If they only had 2 sales, That's $10,000 in revenue. So if you pitch 1K a month, that retainer becomes a no-brainer. And that's exactly what you need to do on the sales call when you're going when you're bridging the gap and going over a return on investment and your process. Talk about numbers, because numbers helps prospects realize, okay, the benefit in your service. Oh, well, if I only invested $1,000 and they generate me only two sales, that's $10,000. I've had a 10 times return on investment. So that's what you guys need to be doing. It's a golden tip. Then when it comes to delivery, this is usually the process. We onboard the client, we then make the ads. So we make the photos, we make the ad copy, we set up the campaigns, then we launch, and then each week, sometimes every 3 to 4 or 5 days, we then adjust the campaigns and make improvements based on the data. So look, this model works. I promise you this model works. There's a reason why there's over 150 guys inside Client Capital who are all killing it. And they all joined us with zero experience. For example, Alan, he signed his first client for 1.5K in only 7 days. Luke, he signed his first client in 5 days. And Matt, he secured $1,300 in 14 days. I promise you, this shit works. And it is the best model for a beginner. I know that because when I first started out, I was completely a beginner and I went into the agency model and I've seen a lot of success with it. So here's your 30-day plan. Okay. How are we going to get to 1K in 30 days? Week 1, I want you to understand the foundations, understand your niche, what services you're going to be selling, do some research, just set the foundations. Don't worry about outreach. Week 2, purely outreach. You got your cold email system set up. You're doing cold calling, DMs, Loom videos, everything that you can physically think of to try and sign a client. That is the most important part. Your whole effort and energy needs to be on trying to sign a client. Then week 3, we're going to continue the outreach, but also you're probably going to start getting a lot of sales calls now. So you need to take the sales calls. And by week 4, you should be closing at least a minimum of 1 sales call to make that $1,000. If you do this right, I promise you, you could make more. But when you first start out, and I know this, $1,000 from your own money, from your own business still seems fucking amazing. So you try and aim, if you just aim for $1,000, you will get it. But I promise you, you can make more. Now, what's next? Well, there's 2 things. If you've got to here, I want you to comment banana at the bottom of this video so I know who's been watching until the end. But also, if you want to learn about how we can help you achieve that $1,000 in 30 days and more, by the way, I promise you, we can help you do a lot more than $1,000, then I want you to watch the 5-minute video on the website linked below in the description, the first link. Watch that video, gain a bit more of an understanding about Client Capital, and if it's something that you want to get involved with, then apply using the form on the website. So, if you have enjoyed the video, please leave a like, please leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next video.